All right, welcome. Sunday, it's February 26th, 4:39. I'm on time. Fortunately, I've been working around the clock to be ready for this broadcast. Why this broadcast? Because it's counter-programming. It's programming that gives you an option so that you don't have an excuse to watch the Academy Awards tonight, which is something that will tremendously distract you from the spiritual path. So here is the option, and I've been able to develop a lot of very beautiful video clips that you'll see on this broadcast. I'm doing this in medium bandwidth because the higher bandwidth, higher definition, I'm losing the bandwidth. Don't have enough to broadcast it, so it's medium definition, and it looks like I'm having enough bandwidth to do this. So you now have a TV channel, so to speak, that have programming on it that you're able to watch live when there's an event in the world that you would rather bypass. But the temptation is to think, well, maybe, come on, why don't you watch it? What the heck, you know? You can say, no, I've got something else which is really, really, really good. You can listen to Clarity Ross on the Christ Clarity channel. And this wonderful program that you will see. I have some tremendous treasures for you here. Believe me, you know that if I say so, it will be so. I do have to go to church today in about an hour, and I will put on a video for you to watch during that time. Oh boy, so this is tremendous. This is one of my purposes here in this world, is to provide this programming for you during these times, especially the times that are to come, which are going to be full of events that will be covered on television that will absolutely pull you away from your determination on the spiritual path, like a black hole. You cannot spend your time watching those events. I'm an expert at not watching television. I'm an expert at not watching movies. I'm an expert at turning away from those things. So I'm here to help you turn away from it too, because it is essential. There are two types of people in this world, literally. There are those who are going to reincarnate again, and there are those who are not. So the focus of those two types of people is completely opposite, night and day. The ones who want to reincarnate again are going to be watching. Their focus will be on that which will reassure them that they will reincarnate again, and the assurance they need is constant, because literally nobody really wants to incarnate again. But if you believe that you have to, for some reason, you will then have to work very diligently to bring that about. On the other hand, there are those who absolutely do not want to reincarnate again, and they have to work diligently not to, because of the patterns, the habit, the familiarity with reincarnation is so strong. That habit tends to pull us along with false belief. So we, the ones who do not want to incarnate again, have to work harder than anyone, for sure, because you have to be sure you make it. Don't leave it to chance. So I'm one of those who is absolutely adamant. I am not coming back into any incarnation anywhere in this universe. No more corporal sensory existence for me. So I'm extremely focused on doing that which will make certain that I do not come back. And there's definitely a path that leads to freedom from incarnation, and the great avatars, gurus, teachers, saviors who come to this planet, they tell us what that path is and what you have to do. And what you have to do is you have to avoid distraction. You have to avoid splitting your attention. If you try to serve two different masters, you're going to be faithless to both of them. Okay? You cannot be faithful to both the effort to reincarnate and the effort to not reincarnate. You cannot be faithful to both of those. It's impossible. You'll be faithless to both, and what happens then is you will go along with the status quo. You will reincarnate again, because you haven't seen yet that the I that is reincarnating is not identity at all. It's not your identity at all. It has no consequence for your identity. The modifications it goes through after it reincarnates and identifies with the body have no bearing on your true identity whatsoever. None. Zero. You haven't seen that yet. And therefore you think it's consequential, and therefore you think you need to identify with this I and with the body that the I identifies with in order to get experience and modifications, to try and guide some sort of set of modifications to make quote-unquote progress. You feel you need to make progress through experiencing in existence, and this is the delusion. This is delusion. And as long as we are not free of that delusion, we will once again identify with the I, which identifies with the body, which has sensory experience in this world of constant change, of constructivity and destructivity, and we will be dragged through the mud again. So, if you don't want to do that, you must be adamant. You must find that which gives you the big boost. And what we call this programming, this channel, is called the Big Boost. The Big Boost. I have a website at clarityross.moonfruit.com. That's clarityross.moonfruit.com, and that has information on this channel, the Big Boost. I'm going to be putting lots of information, necessary information there, so you can know when I'm going to be broadcasting. And this is live broadcasting right now. Bandwidth is fine. Medium definition is fine. It's not going to be crystal clear, but that's okay, right? That's okay. Perhaps at some point we can address this bandwidth issue somehow. I don't know how, but perhaps. But in the meantime, I found with all the videos I've made, people are more into the audio, what is said, the content, rather than the quality of the pictures and the video, etc. Very rarely do I get comments on the video itself, the video part of it. It's almost always comments regarding the content of what is in there, which is right. It's very accurate to do that. In other words, they're not looking at the frame so much, but the picture within the frame is what's really important, and that is true. And on the other hand, giving a nice presentation, that helps. That helps because the frame is not distracting too much from the content, which is a good thing. At least we're able to do this in widescreen, which seems to be the in vogue format right now, especially on YouTube, where I will post this video on YouTube for you, so you can go back and you can download it. You can have it with you at any time. The important thing is to begin to turn to these types of help. These types of help that are available in the world right now, because you need to get familiar with them, get started on it, so when the you-know-what hits the fan in this world, as it will very soon, you will say, I know I can go to Clarity Ross's channel on Ustream, and he will be broadcasting, and I know if there's some really intense stuff going on, I can go to this channel and he'll be broadcasting. There will be something there, or I can go to his YouTube channel at Christ Clarity on YouTube, the YouTube channel Christ Clarity. And there will be videos there to calm me down, to reassure me, to keep me focused on what I need to realize. And I'm going to bring in the help of some of my friends, which is great. Some of my friends, I actually have friends in high places, because those who set their course to be freed from the cycles of incarnation, to be freed from delusion, they end up getting support from those who have already done it, who are free, those who are free. The support does come subtly, in the background. Okay, you have to have your space to work on this. Nothing is forced. But I have had contact with some very significant teachers, and I call those my friends. And so I'll bring my friends in here to help out. Fortunately, we have video of some of these great beings. One of the great beings is Sri Ramana Maharshi. He's a friend of mine. He did make contact with me, and encouraged me to keep doing what I'm doing. Says that it's going to be very, very helpful. So stay with it. Beautiful, beautiful spirit, just tremendous. Very kind and gentle and peaceful, and aware. Another teacher that has made contact with me, and I've been associated with for quite some time, is Sri Anandamayi Ma. And fortunately, we have video of her, quite a bit of video of her. Not so much of Ramana, but we have pictures of him. We have pictures of Sri Anandamayi Ma, video of her. Another teacher is Jesus Christ, especially through the Course in Miracles and also through the Gospels in the Bible. I have been contacted with him quite a number of occasions and encouraged to stick with it. Keep working on this. It's very important. Go fast. All these teachers say, go, go, go. Fast. Urgent. Don't be sluggish on the path. So the fact that I'm here right now, today, broadcasting this live for you, for the world, is a testimony to the urgency that these teachers have imparted to me, to use every moment in the best possible way and never take a day off. Cannot. So I will bring them in. With Jesus, we don't have any actual photographs or video, so I'll have to use some artwork, some various ways to represent him. But we do have. So we have these friends, and they will impress upon you the urgency and the importance of your situation, of if you want to get free of the cycles of incarnation, you've got to go for it. You've got to stick with it. And even when you become cynical and bitter and you say, I'm never going to make it, you still have to stick with it. You still have to give it everything you've got. And it's got nothing to do with luck. You're not going to luck into it. I get cynical, I get bitter, I get upset, like everyone. That's par for the course, that's normal. But the fact is that you have to exercise patience. I lose my patience sometimes, definitely do, because it's so frustrating. You know, if you want to succeed and you haven't succeeded, you haven't broken the spell yet, and you know it's so important, and it's frustrating, very frustrating, and I know people get cynical about it, but the fact is that you have to simply redouble your efforts, and when you do, you will find unexpected successes like this. This is a completely unexpected success story that has come about. It's hard to even trace the various steps that how this came about. I just kind of stumbled along into it, and one thing led to another. I do have to mention, or I would like to mention, another teacher who's actually alive on this planet, Mooji, at Mooji.org. I spend a lot of time listening to Mooji. I've watched his live streaming satsangs on Ustream, Ustream.tv, which is where I'm broadcasting this, and that gave me a big boost. He is capable of giving the world a big boost. When I say the world, I mean those people who don't want to reincarnate ever again, who want this to be their last incarnation. He's capable of giving a big boost. He has given me many big boosts, so I'm very grateful for that. And I will bring him into the picture at some point. I don't have that quite set up yet. There are copyright issues there with the videos. I don't know if I can claim fair use for that. Perhaps I can. So, in watching his satsangs, streaming satsangs, I for the first time I never attended a satsang in my life. For some reason, I can never locate one, and I just never. No matter what I do, I cannot get into that. Even though I pray that I do, it's just for some reason I cannot find any teacher near me. I cannot find any event to go to. It just seems like everything is blocked in that way, which, you know, I guess there's some reason for that. Just a minute, I'll put you on something right here. Oh, sure you Okay.
And I like your dog.
Thank you.
Oh, I mean,
Your cat.
your cat.
Our cat. Okay. Okay. Well, I just had a couple of visitors come into the yard. They want to pick a lemon. I've never seen them before in my life. uh, they're actually picking a lot of them.
It's hard to keep them one hand. Yeah, I used to.
So anyway, I'm here broadcasting. Just a second. And these two young girls come up to the, I'm doing outside, and I've never seen before in my life. They just walk onto the property and say, "Can we pick some of your lemons?" And interest of brevity here, I said, "Yeah, go ahead," but because I got to keep broadcasting here, right? That's really something. And they're wandering around in the yard now. So one never knows what's going to happen. I've never seen him before in my life. Okay. Well, maybe it's a good excuse to go into this video right here. This is Sri Anandamaya Ma.
Holy moly, that was great. Okay, just gonna take one more. Just a second. Excuse me, sir.
Mm-hmm.
One of your tangerines.
Okay, but just one, please, okay? Just one, please. So very interesting. I'm not kidding you. I kid you not. So these two, I don't know, like 10-year-olds or 8-year-olds or something, just wandered onto the property. Say they wanted to pick a lemon. I said, okay, pick a lemon. Well, they go over there. What do? They end up stuffing their pockets with lemons, as many as they can possibly pick. Yeah, it's like, whoa. And then they want to pick a mandarin orange also off the tree. I said, I just one. Interesting entitlement, isn't it? Very interesting entitlement, which could cause me to give a long talk about the situation in the world right now with who has a sense of entitlement here. But really, I have never experienced anything like that in my life. I don't know what to make of it, tell you the truth. But obviously, synchronicity with this broadcast, interrupting this broadcast like that. Fortunately, I was able to shift right over to the video that I had set up ahead of time of Sri Anandamaya Ma, and actually, they're still on the property, chasing a cat around. They're still walking around, picking other stuff. I kid you not. I kid you not. Now they're picking the miner's lettuce in the yard. So they're pulling out plants now in the yard. Huh. It's kind of like the universe wants to interrupt this broadcast. I really don't know where they're from. as I said, I have the studio outside, so I won't be interrupted inside. First time I've ever been interrupted outside. First time. First time ever. Right here, right at the beginning of this broadcast. I don't know what to make of that. What to make of that. You probably heard them on the audio, right? You probably heard them. I don't know. Are they still out there? I don't know. They're still moving around. We were talking about getting free of incarnations, getting free, and how not to get distracted from this. And I was saying how... You're welcome! Have a good day! Okay. They loaded up. They have a wagon. They're pulling it up the street. Okay. They loaded it up with lemons. I probably... In a month, all the lemons will be stripped from the tree, which means I better pick them myself before they're all gone, which is a good idea. So maybe this is... let me put this in context now. What I get out of this is that I need to pick those lemons on the tree. The tree is full of lemons, probably got like about 100 of them or so. And they're not quite ripe yet, but maybe they're ripe enough to pick. And I got a feeling if I don't pick those lemons, strip the tree of the lemons, so to speak, that they may just wander onto the property and pick them all themselves, now that they feel it's okay to do so. This correlates with the world at this time, what some might call the harvest. There are those who are ready to get free of the cycles of incarnation. They're mature, they're ripe, and it's time that they be picked, the fruit be picked. In other words, the time to drop the false identification. Because if we don't drop the false identification right now, it's very likely that the ego, which is in opposition to your freedom, that which wants to bind you to continued rounds of incarnation, the ego will get a hold of you and will pick you for another life. Okay, so that is the context that I'm seeing right now. And of course, the feminine energy right now is in charge of the planet, which is a big, big issue. For those who have been struggling to get free of incarnation, we know that the marketing of the ego, which has taken on the form, a very strong feminine form at this time during the last 50 years. Because that's the hard sell. That's the hard sell. The feminine is expert marketing device for the ego to convince people to continue on with existence, with cycles of incarnation. Fact in point would be the Oscars tonight, right? An hour of the red carpet with all these feminine entities in all these gorgeous, or gowns, sophisticated, magnificent, glamorous gowns, and makeup and hair and everything. That is specifically designed to distract you away from the spiritual path. It is a marketing tactic the ego is using. And the ego wants all the eyeballs on the television sets to watch that and to say, look how beautiful existence is. Look how glamorous it is. Boy, it'd be great to come back here and be part of that. Okay, and the whole purpose of this broadcast is to take you away from that glamour, because it's literally a marketing tool of the ego. What is the ego? The ego is just a term that I use and to refer to the sum total of all marketing efforts that mind is using to keep spirit fixated on the idea of existence. To keep spirit identifying with the false I, which identifies with the physical body and the physical senses and the world. To keep that identification going. to keep that fixation on this play, this dance of Maya, of delusion, of illusion, of inconsequential nothingness. The sum total of all marketing strategies, and I'll tell you, there are so many marketing strategies employed. But the one that's being employed right now, if you want to use the big picture, the ego, sometimes it emphasizes that the trousers, the men, the masculine male marketing devices. And over the last several thousand years, that's been pretty much in the ascendant. And when that starts losing its potency, its distraction, the ego switches over and puts a dress on its marketing tactics and uses the feminine as marketing, which is what's happened over the last several hundred years, but specifically the last 50 years have been just absolute avalanche in that direction. If you look at the commercials over the last 20 years, which I was told to pay attention to commercials so I'd understand what's going on. About 90% of the commercials, if there's any commercial where there's a male and female energies there, entities, bodies, personas, always the feminine persona is the expert, the one who knows what's going on and knows how to deal with situations. And the man is the idiot. He's the knucklehead. He's the fool. He's the clod. He's the stupid one. He's the one who gets it wrong, who scratches his head and says, wow, and looks up to the female and says, wow, you really got it right. You really know what to do, where to go, buy this, do this. It's incredible. It's on purpose. It's on purpose because it's been consistent. It started shifting, I think it was in the 90s, when this strategy began to be employed in commercials, and it's continued unabated to this time. And females are being used to market continued fixation with false identity right now. 90% of it, easily. And the Oscars are no exception. It's all about the woman. It's all about the female. The female is the hero, the ego's hero. It's the heroic marketing device that is being used now. And when it loses its potency, then it'll go back to the male, marketing the male again. So it's not like I'm sexist and trying to put down females or anything. I'm just telling you what the facts of the ego strategy is. Because if it was the male strategy, I would be pointing that out very clearly too, as I used to. If you look back in history, most of the criticism is of course, using the male as a marketing device, all the false teachings, etc. And I am adamant about that too, that's a distraction. It just so happens that the ego switched tactics because we were getting wise to the ego in its marketing. We were getting wise, and great teachers came into this world that were gave us an enormous boost, like Sri Ramana Maharshi and Anandamayi Ma and other teachers. Sri Punjaji is another one, but they helped us see past the male side of the ego's marketing strategy, okay? We're starting to get very good at that. So the ego was desperate, absolutely desperate. And I lived through all of this. I can tell you from direct experience what happened. And the women of the world were waking up, and the ego was freaking out, and it had to take drastic action. And what it did is brought in feminism, radical feminism, and said, look, let's make a deal. We'll put you in charge of the planet. You'll be in charge. You'll be the bosses. We'll change all the laws. We'll make men your slaves, your vassals, your indentured servants, and we'll put them under your legal. Basically, you'll be in a position of blackmailing them, where they're essentially criminalized. And if anything they do that you don't like, you can easily threaten them with criminal charges. And so you will literally have the upper hand and be on top. And if you do that, if all you have to do is go along with the marketing strategies and what we ask you to do, the music, the television, the movies, the broadcasters, the fashion, the attitudes, everything. If you go along with that, you'll be top dog, and you'll call the shots in this world. And some women went for that. Not all. not even a majority, to tell you the truth. I guarantee you that there's a vast number of female personas out there who saw this, didn't like it, don't like it to this very day, realized it was a scam, realized it was an egoic trick, and have been sort of just pushed along by the tide, by this tsunami, by those who eagerly embraced it. And I saw through this the entire time. It's all very, very clear what was taking place on this planet. If you have the clarity and the wisdom, you know it. And I did see there's a great deal of resistance from wise women of this world who realize, hey, this is not good for me, for my salvation. It's very bad, because I'm going to get caught up in the temptation to feel the power in this world, to have some sort of temporal, worldly authority and power. And it's going to be very tempting. And of course, many have fallen into this trap. And so there's a sense of entitlement among the females of this planet now, tremendous entitlement. They're literally ruling the world, calling the shots right now. The men that you see in positions of authority are just their puppets, just their proxies, okay? Men are terrified. I guarantee you, every man that I have spoken to, when they're let their hair down, they're honest, they're terrified. They realize that women are absolutely calling the shots and they have no voice anymore. I've spoken to many, many women, men of all ages, who have confided in me this fact, that they feel they have no say whatsoever in this world anymore. None. And they don't dare speak up, because most men are blackmailed right now. They've been put into some compromising position vis-a-vis female personas, which retroactively, perhaps from a legal standpoint, they can be threatened with lawsuits or threatened with criminal action. And the women say, well, I won't prosecute you. I won't give a complaint to the authorities if you just shut up and don't say anything and be a good little boy in the corner there. And men say, okay, because they know their reputation, their livelihood can be ruined, easily ruined, totally ruined, easily. So they don't say anything. They don't speak up. They're terrified. They've confided in, of all age groups have confided that in me. So it's an open fact what's going on this planet. So you who want to be free of reincarnation, you will be targeted. You are being targeted right now. The Academy Awards are targeting you if you're foolish enough to watch that, as obviously I'm not, because you will be absolutely targeted. Let me see. Let me go over to a clip right now of Ramana Maharshi, and I'm going to set something up, set up some other clips here for you. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to see what I can do. This is a clip that I made giving direct quotes from Sri Ramana Maharshi that are tremendous. He was a tremendous savior. He has very, very profound, powerful attraction to salvation. Let me see.
Thank you for joining us at Melodies. And we'll see everyone.
To Ramana. Okay, so here, you're hearing the audio. When I leave to go to church, I'm going to shift it over to just the video with the music background, by the way, which is being provided by Prasad Bhandarkar of bansuriflute.com. One of the finest musicians I've ever heard. Is his flute playing, and the musicians that play with him are just absolutely tremendous. He actually is here in the Bay Area of California. And I put that fair use as background music because I find it to be very, very spiritual music. So I'll be taking off in about half an hour. Now, picking up on that theme that I spoke about, that people of this world who want to get free of false identification really are struggling with the ego's marketing campaign, which is using the feminine energy, the female persona, the glamour that they bring, the attractiveness they bring, the cuteness, everything that they bring to the table. All the different tactics are very, very powerful and potent. On the newscast, you have these feminine personas who dress up, either you have the blonde goddess or you have I call it the baboon look, where you have someone made up, they look like a baboon. They're made up. They're basically look like, if you pardon the expression, hookers, and in a lot of the way they are. They're hooking you into the news. That's literally what their purpose is. Their purpose is to say, hey, you don't have to look at the news. You can look at me. Look how incredibly sensuous I look. I look like a hooker. And a lot of people will look at that, watch, just to see this seemingly gaudily attractive feminine persona who's giving the news. And then as you're there, you're getting bombarded with the violence and the mayhem and the death and the destructivity and all of the stuff that the ego is bringing about in this world. I call it the goddess of destructivity, is bringing about, because there is a dynamic of existence that is profoundly destructive. In fact, the very purpose of existence is to prove that your identity is vulnerable to being destroyed. Ultimately, what you're trying to do, what Spirit is trying to do, is bring an end to endlessness so it can start a new creation and it be the prime creator. We're trying to take over, supplant God as prime creator. That Spirit, that is the great sin, the great folly that we are engaged in, which is why we're falsely identifying with this I, which identifies with the body, because the body, of course, is vulnerable. The body, everything in this world is vulnerable. Everything is decaying. Everything you see will not be here in a short time. Everything gets destroyed, gets recycled. Constructivity, destructivity, constant cycles. And this is manufactured evidence to try and convince Spirit that there's a way to bring endlessness to an end. You see, what we really are is Spirit, and what Spirit really is the endless extension of being. God the Prime Creator created beingness and extended it endlessly. So our true identity is this endless extension of being. That is what we are. In order to be Prime Creator, we would have to bring an end to this endlessness and then start a new creation. So we are trying to find a way to bring an end to endlessness, which, by the way, is impossible, which is why you need to end your cycles of reincarnation, because it's a waste of time. It's futile. It's folly. It's literally engaging in the attempt to accomplish the impossible. So it's a complete waste of time. You literally are not getting anywhere. You literally are wandering around, aimlessly wandering around, on a meaningless quest. That is the truth. This is something that I see very clearly, something that my teachers agree with. The whole scheme of evolution, of progression of consciousness, yes, that's all taking place, but it's meaningless. That's being done to keep you fixated, to keep you interested in identifying with the false identity, so you can keep seeing destructivity, so you can keep believing it's possible there's some way to bring endlessness to an end. The only way you can believe that is if you keep seeing destructivity, things coming to an end. The body will die. And you think that the death of the body is the death of the identity, and our identity is endlessness. So you plausibly believe that this is possible. And I say you, I mean collective you, not you personally. Yes, you personally have believed that in the past, but you're coming out of that belief, which is the whole purpose of watching this. Whew, it's a little chilly here in this evening in California. Bay Area of California. Beautiful day, but it's not quite as warm as it was a couple days ago. It was 82 degrees here in, last week of February. Incredible. Climate is changing, yes. It is changing. There are lots of changes taking place on this planet. there will be troubles coming up. There will be war. There will be troubles. And you need to be able to engage in divine distraction. So let us bring you some divine distraction at this point. We'll shift on over here to the great Sri Anandamayi Ma. Can't put enough greats in front of her name to do her justice, really, because she was one who was 100% identified with true identity her entire life, from before she was even born to the present moment. It's been a seamless, perfect identification with true identity. Never for one moment did she ever identify with the corporal existence, with the body persona, body-mind persona. Never. Zero. Not even for a moment, which is extraordinary to say the least. You call that one an avatar, a savior, a little higher level than a guru. A lot of gurus awaken at some point during their lives, but this one came in completely awake and was able to carry that through flawlessly for an entire 86 years or something. And this beingness that knew itself to be the seamless, endless beingness had a profound effect on the world behind the scenes. Many people are not so much aware of her. But she literally gave the planet, the spiritual aspirants on the planet, an enormous boost. An enormous boost. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for this enormous boost that she gave. Because it literally saturated the planet at a subtle level. And people started really getting into salvation, freedom from false identity. The spiritual path became very attractive. And like we said, you know what? We got to go for it, because there's something I can feel that it's very close. That's because she was here, along with some others, along with Sri Ramana Maharshi too, who gave a tremendous boost to the planet as well. But Anandamayi Ma was somewhat more behind the scenes, as far as not known to the West as much. But in India, she was well known. She met millions, countless millions of people met her or saw her, and were profoundly affected by this. So, because she traveled widely and extensively, but she never left India. She didn't make any attempt to market herself or publicize herself or anything like that. So her work was done subtly, but somehow it percolated throughout the world, and there are those who were fortunate enough to somehow find out about her. I didn't find out about her really till 1997, which is amazing. I was aware of her in the book of Sri Yogananda. There's a chapter on her in that book. So I did read that book at an early age, and was aware just kind of marginally, but I didn't really pursue it any further. But at the subtle level of awareness, I was aware of her, have always been aware of her being here in this world. Since the day I was born, I realized there was some very, very profound spiritual being here on this planet. I just didn't really know who it was. But this is the being. This is the being who really gave us the right advice. And you can see this advice coming up here as text on the screen with each picture. She really gave us the right advice. Uncompromising, adamant exhortation to give it everything we've got, because she knew the times that were to come. She knew very well the distractions that would come about in this world, as did another great teacher, Krishnamurti. And the two of them actually did meet and had great regard for one another. Krishnamurti, of course, came to California in Ojai and did a lot of teaching here in California. My grandmother met him, and I know people that went to his meetings. I never did. But he pointed out, he was aware He was very much aware of the Christ identity, the one identity, and he also was aware of the future, and he pointed out that there would be coming very soon, during the times we live in right now, he told us that the world would see a wave of incarnation of very highly mentally polarized personas who had tremendous organizational skills around information, and that they would literally take over the planet and would have tremendous authority and power here as far as turning people in a certain direction. And of course, that's exactly what happened with the birth of the high technology, the digital age, the computers, the internet, and now all the social media, etc., etc., etc. This is exactly what's happened. And he said that this was a very, very bad situation for spiritual aspirants here, and that he told us that we needed to make tremendous progress before this happened, otherwise we really wouldn't stand much of a chance. And I fortunately came across this exhortation by Krishnamurti early on in life, and I took it to heart, and I believed him. And so again, I realized I had to go 100% all-out sprint every day, right now. Do not wait until this happens, because it's like waiting for a tsunami to overtake you before you start running. By that time, it's too late. So Anandamayi also knew that there would be this tremendous effort to distract us once again, for spirit to be distracted by mind. You see, mind is that aspect of spirit, aspect of creation, which presents ideas, is the creative aspect that presents beautiful, wonderful tapestries of rich experiencing for spirit. Spirit's the one that chooses ideas, chooses the experiencing. The spirit will say, I want to experience this sort of idea, and then mind will present it. So when spirit said, I want to experience being prime creator, mind had to present a way, a plausible way to make this happen. Even though it's impossible, mind had to give an illusion, a dream, like a plausible, hypothetical way that it could happen. So spirit could look at this and say, oh, okay, I see that you're progressing in this direction, and it can be successful. But it's all make-believe. It's not really working at all. So mind presenting this to, this existence to spirit is what we call ego, or false mind. But it's really simply mind is using all these strategies, these marketing tactics, which we're calling the ego, to keep spirit enthralled, spellbound, believing, that, hey, someday it's going to be possible to be prime creator, because there's going to be a way that brings endlessness to an end. Now, the great teachers like Sri Anandamayi Ma come here and tell us, no, it's not possible. It's impossible. You can never succeed at this. Give up the attempt. Give up the attempt. Drop the false I. Stop identifying with this false I, which identifies with this body, because this body is not you at all. It has nothing to do with what you are. You are formless spirit. You are deathless, eternal, formless spirit. Endlessness itself, which has no form. What form does endlessness have? All forms arise in endlessness, but endlessness is untouched by any of these forms that arise. Everything arises within endlessness, and none of it touches or tarnishes endlessness or changes or modifies it in any way, not even the slightest way. So our true identity is untouched. And these teachers know this for a fact, and they tell us this for a fact, and they also warn us of what is to come, and they say, you had better get after this big time right now, or else you're going to be swept away by this tsunami of distraction, of egoic distraction. So we have the double whammy right now. We have the distraction of high technology, and we have the distraction of the marketing campaign using the feminine to try and make existence attractive to us. What we're doing here is we're making salvation from false identity, release from false identity attractive. We're saying, be attracted to that. Use divine attraction. That's very important. And those who are engaged in helping these great teachers, they need to speak up. as I am speaking up. It's part of my responsibility because I've been helped so much by these teachers. I'm speaking up. And of course I say things that you won't hear other places. Not that I'm judging the world. I make one judgment on the world, and that is it's an attempt to accomplish the impossible. Therefore, it's 100% futile. All times, all places, all situations are completely equal in their futility to try and bring an end to endlessness, to try to change endlessness. All completely futile. So there's only one judgment that I make. When I'm talking about the situation, I'm simply describing to you what the obstacles are and the importance for you to make every possible effort right now not to get distracted. I'm not a hater. I'm not hating on the situation, except I hate existence. I hate the suffering. I hate the misery, and I hate the notion of coming back here again. Certainly. No one can love that. Nobody can love the attempt to destroy what we actually are. It's a completely futile attempt. Hello, cat. A cat is just wandering through here. Hello. But nonetheless, when we're engaged in it, we believe that it will succeed, and therefore we are subject to enormous suffering. In my own life, the suffering was so terrible, it was beyond comprehension. The only thing that kept me going was I was interested in it because I said, this is like so terrible. I'm interested in how can it be anything be so terrible. And that's what really kept me going, because it was just so completely atrocious. Suffering can become unbearable here. Guaranteed. That is a fact. And the only way to bear it is to give all your efforts towards freeing yourself from ever being pulled in this false identification again. And when you get assurance that this is possible, then you have hope, and this hope can gradually overcome the suffering. Without this hope, literally you can suffer so bad that all you do is you pray that you just die. Your suffering can be so terrible. I'm very much compassionate and understanding about suffering on this planet because I've been put through the ringer to an unbelievable extent. Suffering that I went through, I would not wish on the worst entity who ever existed in all time and space. I would not even remotely wish it upon them, what I've been through. So I'm 100% compassionate with everyone, and knowing the kind of suffering that can take place in existence. I exhort you to be completely obsessed with getting free of the cycles of incarnation, free of false identity, because that's the only way you're going to be free of suffering and misery. But in order to do that, I do need to point out some facts about the resistance and obstructions that you're facing, and the extreme importance that you get after this path 100%, not 99%, but 100%. Because the tactics that are being used against you right now to market your continued fixation with false identity, those tactics are hardball. Okay, you're being hardballed right now. And so that's why I'm speaking up. It's atrocious what's taking place, literally. And if you are unfortunately watching the Academy Awards, you're getting hardballed right there, big time. All the commercials, all the glamour, all the superstars, all the music, everything there is designed to keep you enmeshed in false identification. Everything. And it's hardball, okay, right now. It is deserves the term wickedness, evil, that kind of thing. Those are just terms that refer to ego's marketing strategy, especially when it gets really, really vicious, as it is now, because the ego realizes that there's also a big push to get free, for many to break the cycle of false identification. And this will severely undermine the ego's credibility, because it insists that endlessness can be brought to an end, and that spirit will become prime creator if everyone is just loyal to this plan. Everyone works towards it. And if you have a whole bunch of beings defecting from this and realizing that it's impossible, this is a severe undermining of the ego's credibility. So the ego literally has to get you to not even pay attention to those beings at all. Like, I guarantee you, if you walk down the street right now and asked 1 million people if they know who Sri Anandamayi Ma is, you could very easily go through 1 million people and not a single one would know who she is. Okay? There are some in the world who do know who she is, but that she was here and gave out this incredible teaching that you're seeing now, and this presence that is so amazing. But the ego has worked overtime to distract people away from that. So she's becoming lost in the pages of history, so to speak. And I'm bringing this back to your attention. Okay, that there are people on this planet who did meet her right now, and they never forget it. I guarantee you they never forget it. I once saw an Indian woman in a store, and I looked at her, and she had this look of peace on her face, and I asked her, I want to ask you something. Did you ever meet Sri Anandamayi Ma over in India? And she looked at me with incredible, amazed, and she said, yes, I did. And I'll never forget that meeting. As long as I live, I will never, ever forget that. And I could see she literally carried that meeting with her throughout her entire life, and I could literally see it. I could feel it. Because I could feel that somehow her life had been transformed at a very deep level, that she believed in salvation from false identity. She believed it. She was struck at a very deep spiritual level just from one meeting at a distance, She attended a satsang. She went to a place where Sri Anandamayi was and saw her and was just struck, tremendously struck by her. And almost everybody who saw her had this same experience. I would say at some level everybody who saw her had this reaction, had a reaction at a deep level, like, my gosh, salvation is possible. Salvation from false identity, from the world of suffering and misery is definitely possible, because the proof is right here in front of me. The absolute proof is right here in front of me, and I know it for a fact. Well, the ego was supremely challenged by this and has sought non-stop to wipe her memory out and to distract people so they don't even look in that direction, because ego knows if people see her, they'll say, whoa, what's this? What's this? Wait a minute, what's this? So, therefore, the ego sponsors these things such as the Academy Awards, these massive, all these award shows, all this glamour, all these, what do you call them? Stars. Well, I don't know why they call them stars, but these celebrities who are so constantly dressing up in all these very glamorous ways, very ways that are designed to attract you at a very coarse level, to pull your senses into that. And then from there, you will be like a drunk person who's forgetful, very forgetful, and you won't even remember to search for an enlightened being anymore. You'll say, why do I need that? I have all these glamorous goddesses and celebrities who are giving me all this titillating tabloid antics, all these antics they go through, and I need to follow them and see what they're up to next and all this kind of stuff. That's all by design. That's the ego's marketing strategy. And the Holy Spirit, the grace of God, has a marketing strategy also, which is to bring you these enlightened beings, these saviors, these avatars, these great incarnations, to remind you that they were here. And in Muji's case, he is here, and they gave and are giving fantastic right advice for you. Take their advice to heart, believe it, it is true. What they're talking about is true. You can be saved, I can be saved. All of us eventually will have to drop the false identification, but it can be done right now, right here and now. It can be done, and our aim is to literally to do this. Certainly, we must not lose momentum at this time. And as I mentioned before, as I'm about ready to leave for about an hour and a half or so, and I will leave these videos on, war I believe is going to break out. I believe there's going to be war on this planet. Very, very severe war. Very more than we expect, worse than we expect. I know a lot of people realize that in the Middle East there's going to be some type of conflict, but the extent to which it may spread is still very much in question in everyone's mind, right? It could spread much more than people realize, because the situation could become way more volatile than you realize. Because at a certain level, a subtle level that I'm aware of, and you may be aware of or maybe not, there is a dynamic I call the goddess of destructivity that is very 100% active in this world, and she is fanning the flames, the passions of the world for conflict. And again, this is a feminine. Why? Because the feminine energy is expert at fanning the flames of male passion. And of course, males, are the ones who carry out warfare to a very large extent. But the female energy, the female persona, is an expert at fanning the flames of male passion. They can fan it in different directions. Right now, I literally, last night, I believe, or 2 nights ago in a dream, I saw very clearly that the goddess of destructivity, working through the feminine energy of this planet, is frantically fanning the flames of desire for conflict, for killing, for mayhem. The male energy on this planet is becoming more and more and more and more heated up with desire for warfare. It's intentionally being done by the goddess of destructivity to bring about a massive cycle of destructivity here, which again feeds into the idea of there's a way to bring endlessness to an end. It's a marketing strategy. If the feminine energy of this planet wanted peace, did not want conflict, did not want war, they could do that too. They could cool it all down. Easy. I guarantee you that men do not want to fight, do not want to blow each other's brains out. Guarantee you that's a fact. Easy for men to have peace among themselves. They're very good at resolving disputes between them directly. If it's just man to man, they just speak to each other and apologize, ask forgiveness. Men accept it, and they say, okay. I say, I won't do it again. And we say, hey, everything's cool. We're cool. No problem. If the females want it that way, they can make it that way. If they want to fan the flames of conflict, they will do that. And then the males are so frightened and intimidated and basically easily influenced by the feminine, that if the feminine wants to fan the flames of warfare, they will do that. And they literally will bring about conflict, severe conflict. And I've seen that is the purpose right now on the planet. And a very, very severe conflict will come. Because men are literally losing their minds, hysterical emotionalism, as they buy into all this glamour and these celebrities and this whole feminine marketing campaign. They have become extremely emotional, which is a very bad thing. They become extremely addicted to being attracted and influenced by the feminine energies, which is a very bad thing. Because first, excuse me, okay, so we're about ready to go now, right now, and I'll just click over here.
joining us at Melodyscape, and we'll see everyone. Thank you for joining us at Melodyscape, and we'll see everyone. Thank you for joining us at Melodyscape, and we'll see everyone. joining us at Melodyscape, and we'll see everyone. Thank you for joining us at Melodyscape, and we'll see everyone